Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting episode of 5 Minutes with Gray Hair Dave. 5 Minutes with Gray Hair Dave. That's me. I have gray hair. I've got a gray beard. I wear glasses like the guy in the artwork. Today, though, I'm not wearing a green t-shirt. I'm wearing a white t-shirt in case you really care. I'm also wearing a nice new hat that I got down in, I shouldn't say down, I should say over in Madeira Beach while I was on vacation from the hotel I was staying at. It's pretty cool looking. I like it. Anyway, how are you this morning? I hope you're well. I'm feeling pretty good myself. It's not even 11 o'clock here when I'm recording here in Central Florida, because I have to go to work a little earlier than I did yesterday. So it's one of those things where you got to get up and do things that you want to get done. Now, I'm not a late sleeper, in case you didn't know. I don't sleep late very often. There are occasions when I will go back to sleep, like later on, like take a nap, I'm getting old and decrepit, so I have to have a nap now and then, ladies and gentlemen. No, I'm just kidding. So, let's talk still about 1976. So, back in 1976, some cool things were going on, right? I rarely talk about TV shows. But, when you're working and you come home from work and you want something to do in the evening and it's the middle of the week, you're not always going to go out to a bar in the middle of the week, right? Now, you may go out to a bar in the middle of the week for a couple, but it's not like you're going out partying. You may go out and have a couple of drinks with friends or whatever, but you're going to come back and you're going to probably watch a little television before bed or whatever. So what were you watching back in 76? The number one show in 1976, just so you know, was Happy Days. Number two was Laverne and Shirley. Number three was the Monday Night Movie. That was cool. Back when they had movies of the week and they were fun. MASH was still very, very popular and going to gain more and more popularity. Charlie's Angels. Everybody loved Charlie's Angels that I knew. It was a fun show. It was a little, you kind of knew what was going to come every time, but it was all right. Number six was The Big Event. Do you remember the $6 million van? Bionics. Oh, with the prosthetics they got now. Kind of thinking we're headed that way, but I don't know. Number 8 was a tie for the ABC Sunday night movie, Beretta, and One Day at a Time. One Day at a Time was a show about a divorced single mom with two grown teenage girls, and it was back in the 70s, and it was an interesting show. It wasn't terrible. Number 11 was a Three's Company. Those are the TV shows. I mean, that wasn't all of them, of course. There was All in the Family was still there. Welcome Back, Kotter. The Bionic Woman. Rich Man, Poor Man, book number 2. And lo and behold, Monday Night Football was number 22. So those are TV shows that were going on back then, and I listened to quite a few of them. I mean, my goodness, I watched quite a few of those. I was also big into music, getting bigger and bigger into music. Back then you had vinyl. We didn't call them vinyl back then. We called them records. I mean, that's what everybody called them. Now they're vinyl with air quotes by them, And every kid's dream was to be a rock star. And that's a legitimate dream. Really, it is. It's a legitimate dream. It's a good one. But mine wasn't to be the rock star. I had mentioned this before. Mine was a guy playing the music. Or mine was a guy behind the scenes, editing the music, or orchestrating the music, or orchestrating the band. I don't mind being on stage. I don't mind it at all. In fact, I enjoy it. But I I like how things work and making things work. I like making the things, the gears go together and mesh. But I find that to be I find it to be not just empowering, but satisfying. That's the word I've been looking for, satisfying. I do. And I realize that more and more every day now with what I'm doing here in this audio editing and this audio performing. And when I was doing the podcast with my brother Tim, we were doing video also, and I enjoyed the editing and the mixing and the putting in the lower thirds and all these fun things. I really did, and I still do, which is why I've started Gray Hair Productions. Gray Hair Productions is going to be my production company where I'm going to be doing the editing for other people. And I've already talked about the program that I want to start. But anyways, let's get back to 1976. So in 1976, I mentioned that I was working in a paper mill, working swing shift. And that makes it hard to find people to date. But it also makes it more important that when you do find somebody, you find the right person. Shopping around is rude, but dating around, it was harder. I had met new friends when I was at the paper mill, and we used to go and hang out often. He and I we had a real close friend at the paper mill. He and I became very good friends. And we'd go and we'd hang out and we had fun. And I met his future wife, and she was a fantastic girl. And he met mine, and we moved on, but we were still friends for 10 years. But those are the things. The dating life is more difficult when you can't be with them every afternoon or every evening because you're working evenings that week, or you're working nights that week and you got to sleep, So, and here's the weird thing about swing shift, folks. Some people who work third shift or the overnight shift, they will stay up all day when they get home or most of the day and then sleep before they go to work. I was the opposite. I would come home in the morning, be up for half an hour, 20, or maybe an hour, maybe have a bite to eat, and then I'd go to bed. And I'd sleep till 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Then I had all the afternoon free to go do whatever I want and then go to work. Other guys did it the other way. They'd come home, they'd stay up, and they'd sleep, get up an hour or so before they had to go to work and go on. And when it changes every week, it makes it more difficult for relationships. And the girls that you date, or the girls that I dated, some understood it, some didn't. And the ones that didn't last long. Now, I wasn't dating a bunch of girls, but I dated my share. I wasn't this Don Juan or this gigolo kind of a guy. I was a guy who was out there having fun and meeting girls. And I met some interesting ones, and I hope they found me interesting too. I hope they still think of me well, like I think of them well. Need to readjust my tongue this morning, I guess. But anyways, that was 1976. I was working, going to work every day, starting to date. Had the new car and then the new van. And when you're at that point in life where you're working, 6 days a week, sometimes 7. Sometimes you're working 12 hours a day or 16 hours a day during those times, and there always isn't time for your own life. Work comes first, and that's wrong for me. I'm finding right now in my life that work taking precedence over my life, or what I find important, is less and less the way I want it to be. So let's take a minute if you don't mind. Work-life balance is important, especially if you're a younger person listening to this. If you're not a baby boomer who is retired. Balance it well while you can. Don't let work become more important than your complete life. If you're married and have a family, you're working to provide for them. You're not with them to do work. Pay attention to them. My brothers are a perfect example. Both of my brothers are hardworking men. They would work hard, but when it came to their family time was family time. Certain times of the year for one of my brothers were a little longer hours, but he still found time for his family. Please do that. Otherwise, you'll end up like me and divorced a couple of times and a couple of failed relationships after that because I put work first. I can't do that anymore. I go to work now. It's a means to an end. It's a means to help me get to where I want to go with this next job. And this next job will be mine. It'd be my company, so I'm the one deciding when I work. I'm the one deciding who I work for and work with. And that way, I can still have that nice balance. I can schedule it so that if I want to go away for a week, I just don't schedule anything that week. Where the company I work for now, if I don't want to be there, I've got to schedule that the year before or months in advance. Or call out sick for a week. And then that's not a good idea either, So the work-life balance, I have had it backwards for so many, 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 many years. But I'm turning it around now and in this semi-retirement that I'm going into. So thank you for listening to that. It felt good to get that out there. What are your thoughts about that? Did you put work before life like I did? And I don't mean it in a bad way, but let me know. Leave me a message on 5minuteswithgrayhairdave.com. That's the number 5minuteswithgrayhairdave.com. And don't forget, folks, tell your friends about me. I'd appreciate that. Hey, listen to this guy, Dave. He talks about the older days, but he talks about life and what's going on. Another thing, please, 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 if you find friends out there who don't know what a podcast is, they don't know where to find one, don't know how to play one, don't know how to download one, do me a favor, show them. They will be appreciative. So, for Gray Hair Dave, don't forget, smile at somebody you don't know. It'll make their day and make you feel better. So, this is Gray Hair Dave over here in Central Florida. The skies are sunny, and Dave is happy. You have a great day.